What's going on, everyone? So, the Los Angeles Lakers are very consistent at being inconsistent. And this is my big problem with the Lakers. They came off of three very notable wins against the Clippers, the Thunder, and the Dallas Mavericks. They get back to 500. It's like, hey, are the Lakers finally riding the ship? And I said, let's hold our horses. Let's wait and see how this plays out because we have a large enough sample size to show that the previous games were an outlier rather than the norm. And the Lakers go at home against the Brooklyn Nets, who are 1-9 in their last 10. And the Lakers start the half great. It looks like, man, the Lakers are about to steamroll the Brooklyn Nets. And instead, they ended up getting steamrolled, giving up 130 points and lose by 18. In that fourth quarter, the game was over. And it was a disaster. And this is the problem with the Lakers. They can't consistently put together wins. This is why I have repeated the Lakers desperately need a trade. They do. They need a trade. And no one on this roster should be untradeable. Right? We've heard the reports of Austin Reaves and Rui Hachimura. And look, I love Austin Reaves. You know, I understand some people might look at it and go, no, you don't because you want to trade him. No, I can love Austin Reaves, but because I am a Laker guy and I care more about the Lakers' success than any individual player, I can want Austin Reaves gone to upgrade to win now. If the Lakers were in a position where it's like, hey, we're in a rebuild or a retool stage, then fine. Keep Austin Reaves, keep Rui Hachimura. They make sense for the long term. But to have LeBron James and Anthony Davis playing to the level in which they are playing this year, you owe it to them to go all in. You owe it to them to go get a trade done, and no one should be untradeable. Austin Reaves can't shoot this year. He's been terrible shooting the three ball. He's been incredibly inconsistent all season. Defensively, he's a major liability, but he's the piece that everyone wants, right? And, you know, it's the whole sell high. You have a guy who, amongst the league, is the prized piece from the Lakers, and which you could use to leverage into a quality deal, into a quality trade. Use Austin Reaves. Atlanta wants Austin, right? And we saw the reports that, hey, DeJounte Murray for D'Lo, Jalen Hood-Schifino, a first, and other draft compensation. Can you, instead of that first, include Austin Reaves and get the deal done? Right? Because that's the guy that they really want. And then you'd have a first-round pick, D'Lo, Rui, Gabe Vincent, right? Like, you'd be in a much better position to not only get DeJounte Murray, but get multiple pieces and really revamp this roster. DeJounte Murray is better than Austin Reaves. He is. And so many people I see are holding on. Well, last year, what is he doing for us now? Last year, yes, he was fantastic, but there's several factors that people are not keeping in mind. One, there was no tape. He wasn't circled on the whiteboard. Teams weren't thinking or trying to shut down Austin Reaves. He also last year shot the ball incredible. He was much better defensively, and he had a ton of momentum going into the playoffs. And then it translated and carried over into the playoffs. We don't have a 5-year sample size or even a 3 or 4 year sample size of Austin Reaves being incredible. So far, we have about as much of a sample size of him being bad as, I shouldn't say bad, he's been decent this year, but he's been nowhere near the kind of guy we need. And he's been nowhere near the type of player he was last year. And is he as bad as he's been this year? Maybe not. But he's clearly not as good as he was last year. And we have seen so many players from, who is it? Michael Carter-Williams, right? Where's that guy? He won like Rookie of the Year, averaged nearly a triple-double, looked like the next superstar point guard in the league, and like 3 years later, he was out of the league. Or Jeremy Lin, right? Lin Sanity. Where's he? He's tried to get in the NBA for multiple years. We have seen plenty of players just have incredible runs and then fizzle out. And look, I'm not saying he's as bad as he has been this season, but I think he's somewhere in the middle. I think he's a quality role player that if he's like your fifth, sixth, seventh guy on a contender, you're probably very good. But him needing to be your third, fourth best player, he doesn't have it this year. And look, maybe the Lakers trade him and he turns it around and he gets back to being the guy. You live with that. Because again, what has he been now? And you have the opportunity to go get a legitimate all-star, a guy who, even in a terrible fit, and look, I'm not high on DeJounte Murray. I have repeatedly talked about how concerned I am with DeJounte Murray coming to Lakers, right? But he is better than Austin Reaves. And it would be a clear upgrade over Austin Reaves. And my thing is that if you have that opportunity, do it. And here's the thing too, right? It's not like DeJounte Murray's 33, where it's like, okay, yeah, he helps now, but what about the long term? He's 27. So you can go and trade for DeJounte Murray and still have him for the next 4+ years. He's about to enter his new contract next year. When that's done, he'll be 31. He fits Anthony Davis's timeline. He fits the post-LeBron James timeline, right? So you have him who is 27 years old, and we're not talking about Austin Reaves being 19 or something. Austin Reaves is 25. He's 2 years younger than DeJounte Murray. But Austin Reaves is probably closer to his ceiling than he is his floor. Right? DeJounte Murray, we know what the best version of DeJounte Murray looks like. A 23 to 25 point a game guy, grab you 5 or 6 rebounds, give you 9 assists. He's up there in every way when he gets the opportunity to play point guard. Has the potential to get back to being the all-defensive guard that he was, and he's an all-star. Austin Reaves, again, I love Austin Reaves, but this year, he is nowhere near an all-star. Go look at the videos that I made going into the season. I hyped up Austin Reaves like he was the second coming of Michael Jordan. Like, I was super sold on Austin Reaves. And he just proved me wrong. I was wrong. He's not as good as advertised. He's shooting the ball atrocious this season. And it's not like he's going to magically turn it around. And we have no idea. People are holding on to, well, what about the playoffs? What is he going to do in the playoffs? We remember what he did in the playoffs, but we have no idea if he's going to replicate that. It's not like we have a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year sample size of him in the playoffs being great. For all we know, last year was just a good season, and he's now the player that he is because teams are familiar with him. And they are targeting him, and he's struggling. And he's going to get into the playoffs, and he's going to have those same type of struggles. We don't know. Like, everyone's just assuming that Austin Reaves is going to be great come playoff time. We don't know that. And that is a concern. That is an issue. Austin Reaves is shooting under 36% this year. He shot 40% last year. He is shooting 35.1% from three-point range this season. 2-point range, he's shooting 59.5%. Last year, he shot 63.1%. This year, he has an EFG of 56.7. Last year, he had an EFG of 61.6. Again, it's just, I like Austin Reaves. I genuinely do. But I like the Lakers winning championships more. And if you can get the pieces that make sense to go do it, if Austin Reaves was incredible, then I'd say, no, keep him. Go trade D'Lo. Go get that. Right? But he's not. And D'Lo has been very good this year for the Lakers. And he is on an incredible stretch. And I have made the argument to keep D'Lo over Austin Reaves. My thing, though, is if you end up trading for DeJounte Murray, I think you have to trade D'Lo. I do. Because I have concerns about running 2 point guards. You could have D'Lo play off ball and have him just be a 2 guard and just tell him, hey, don't worry so much about playmaking. Just go get buckets. And maybe he could get you, 17 to 20 a game, right? Especially the way he's shooting right now. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. But and that's also kind of one of the reasons why I would like the Lakers to get a trade done now. Because that would give you time to figure out, does DeJounte Murray and D'Lo work? Right? Because D'Lo's been much better than Austin Reaves defensively this year. Again, he's not elite. He's not this incredible defender, but he's been good. He's been good enough. He's been serviceable. He's not the one that's getting targeted by teams, right? And DeJounte Murray, the hope is that he can get back to being a legit defender. But if he can at least be serviceable, DeJounte Murray can't be worse than Austin Reaves. So right off the bat, you'd have two guys that are better than Austin Reaves defensively. So you just naturally be better defensively. But I also like the way D'Lo is playing right now, and maybe he can continue that confidence. And look, I know people, again, oh, well, what about the Denver series? He didn't show up. Austin Reaves showed up. Again, we don't know what D'Lo will look like in the playoffs this year. I don't care what happened 4 years ago. I don't care what happened a year ago. D'Lo was also a guy that led a team to the playoffs as their best player with not much else around him. Name me 5 guys that were on there, or 3 guys that were on the roster with D'Lo without looking it up. And he was fine, right? If he has the right role, he has the right understanding, he has the confidence. He also was dealing with a foot injury in the playoffs. And people also seem to forget, in the Grizzlies series and the Warriors series, he was great for us and single-handedly saved us in those series. People forget Austin Reaves was terrible. I mean, unplayably bad those first 3 games against Golden State. But Austin Reaves showed up. It's recency bias in many ways. People remember the last thing you did. Well, how come people don't remember the last thing Austin Reaves did, which is this year? Again, we don't know what Austin Reaves will look like in the playoffs. We're assuming because of what he did last year, he will do it again. But what's more likely? That the guy he's been this season is going to translate into the playoffs and he's going to be that guy, and last year was just him on an incredible momentum run and that carried over into the playoffs? Or that Austin Reaves is this like star come playoff time? Maybe he is. Right? But there's no guarantee. And people are talking about Austin Reaves like it's a guarantee. Like they know for a fact he's going to do that. You don't know for a fact. And D'Lo, look, let's say D'Lo does struggle in the playoffs again. If he's now your 4th, 5th guy rather than your 3rd, then you can get away with him only scoring 10 in the playoffs or whatever, because you'd have a guy like a DeJounte Murray, and you'd always have him as a scoring threat, and you'd always have him as a secondary playmaker, right? So when DeJounte Murray goes to the bench, you'd still have D'Lo. When LeBron goes to the bench, you'd still have D'Lo. You could rest LeBron and DeJounte Murray, and you'd still have D'Lo. If you give it a little time to marinate, if it doesn't work, you ship out D'Lo. You trade D'Lo, you trade Rui, you trade Gabe, and you go get other pieces. But there were literal reports that were, hey, if you trade D'Angelo Russell Austin Reaves right now, you could go get DeJounte Murray. Now, we don't know how true that is. Again, everything's rumor until it's done. But you're telling me you could go, right now, you could go get DeJounte Murray if you were willing to give up Austin Reaves. Why aren't we doing that right now? Austin Reaves hasn't been good enough to be untouchable. He hasn't. Obviously, everything comes down to price, right? If we have to give up Austin Reaves, a first, a pick swap, and all this other stuff, then okay, I understand that, right? Maybe you wait, maybe you be patient, see what happens at the trade deadline. But one, I don't think the Lakers could be, come trade deadline, the Lakers could be in a position where it's not even worth making a trade anymore. And you might as well just wait till the offseason, and come draft day, you may have 3 first-round picks available and all this tradable assets. Maybe you just flip D'Lo and you try to get a guy that makes sense long-term. Maybe you do go get a Tyus Jones and a Daniel Gafford or something. But if you're telling me right now, I could go get DeJounte Murray if I give up Austin Reaves, maybe convince them to not include the first-round pick, like, hey, we'll give you Austin, but we want to keep our first. Or you go get DeJounte Murray, Clint Capella, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and Sadiq Bey, and you basically revamp the roster. You're telling me you could do that right now? The Lakers should do that. Because even if they just get DeJounte Murray for Austin Reaves and then whatever salary filler, you keep your first, that gives you basically 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks between now and the trade deadline to not only evaluate and see what else do you need, but also gives DeJounte Murray an extra 2.5 weeks to figure it out, right? It gives him more time to build chemistry and a relationship with this current roster. So you'd get more time to kind of expedite the learning curve. And then you'd also get time to evaluate, see, does D'Lo still fit? Does D'Lo still make sense? And gauge various trades and be patient and not have to just rush into something. Go get DeJounte. Go get a trade. Go get it done. Again, I love Rui. I wish Rui could be a Laker forever. Genuinely. As long as LeBron's on this roster, he's just never going to get the real opportunity. And he is not consistent enough. Again, part of that is not his fault. In Rui's defense, a lot of that is not his fault. A lot of it is just, injuries, in and out of the lineup, not getting consistent minutes, right? So I'll defend Rui, but he's not getting the consistency. He's not going to get that. Rui's untradeable to what? Not play him, right? And Rui has a history of being good in the playoffs. That we actually have more than a 1-year sample size. We have like 3 of those, right? But even then, it's like, yes, Rui and Austin Reaves long-term makes sense. If Rui and Austin Reaves are truly untradeable and you don't want to trade them, then what's the point? Ask LeBron where he wants to go, get the best return possible, and then trade AD in the offseason. Because what are we doing here? What are we doing? Are we competing for NBA championships or are we not? If we're competing for NBA championships, do what you have to do to go get an NBA championship. Otherwise, hit the reset button, ride with Rui, ride with D'Lo, ride with Austin Reaves, Jared Vanner, all the young guys, and then hit the reset button. Start rebuilding. Right? Like, again, what are we doing here? Get the trade done. No one has been good enough to warrant being untradeable this season. Again, you trade Austin Reaves and he turns into a superstar and he becomes a top 5 player in the league. You live with that. I think it's unlikely. All right? Go get DeJounte Murray. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think, yes, right, at this point, do whatever you got to do? Do you think, no, keep these guys? Again, how do you feel? What your thoughts are? I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, yeah, like this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.